it's Sarah here from Nest in the West. I thought I'd make a video this week all about our kidding practices here on our homestead, and I had a perfect opportunity when our first freshener, mini Nubian Agnes, gave birth to, she actually had triplets. One of the babies was stillborn, but we do have two sweet, precious, healthy babies, a doeling and a buckling. Bucklings are always prettier, aren't they? I'm gonna give them back to their mama now. And so now I'm gonna take this opportunity to show you what's in my kidding kit, what my protocol is with the kids and the mama goat during and just after kidding. Okay, so first up in my kidding kit is going to be paper towels. I have used regular towels or old rags during kidding or calving before, and it's not my favorite. It's really no fun after sometimes a long night or a long stretch of hours during the day to then have to go do a load of laundry. If you forget about the load of laundry, they get really hard to clean. I just really like the ease of having paper towels that you can kind of scoop it all up when you're done and toss them out. Paper towels are great for clearing off the kids' nose and mouth area from the mucus and birth fluid. I usually do that just real quick. I kind of wipe off their nose and mouth before handing them over to their mama, and I let her do most of the cleaning. Sometimes if the kid is really wet, or if she suddenly has more than one to deal with and she's struggling to get them both dry quickly, I will help a little bit with the paper towels, but I live in a warm climate, so that's not usually a huge concern for me. These are in no particular order, by the way. I'm just kind of pulling things out of my kidding kit. Next thing on my list is a lamb puller or a kid puller, Pull Ease. They come by all kinds of different names. You can get them on Amazon, you can get them from Premier One or Caprine Supply Co. There's a lot of different spots that you can get stuff like this, but I do like to have one on hand. Thankfully, I've never had to actually use one, but I do keep some books on hand with illustrations and such to help me when I do have a situation with a kid presenting not in the ideal position. So I like to just have this on hand, and even if I end up having to call in help with a vet or a knowledgeable neighbor, at least I have the tools on hand to do what we need to do. All right, this is another one that I don't use routinely, but occasionally it can be helpful when you have a kid born with a lot of gunk in their throat, or they're just sneezing and coughing a lot after birth. It's just a bulb syringe, a basic baby one. I have a few of them brand new in packages that I will pull out if I really need it. But again, not something I do routinely for my goats. I find that kind of just taking a step back and letting mama take care of them is usually the best way to go unless they're really struggling. All right, another important one in my kidding kit is Nutri-Drench. This one is particularly for goats, so they do sell this for cattle as well and maybe swine, I'm not sure. Make sure you get the goat one if you are dealing with goats. So I like to give a pump of this in the mouth to the kids shortly after birth, just to give them an extra sort of boost of energy. It's kind of like a Gatorade or a Pedialyte. It's just got an extra dose of nutrients and vitamins to give them a kickstart. I also like to give this to mama after birth if she seems a little slow to bounce back or needs a little bit of extra boost, pep in her step. I do give her this. I also like to give a bucket full of warm water and molasses as a sort of goat Gatorade to help get her back on her feet after she's finished kidding. All right, another important thing I like to have in my kidding kit, but just also in my general goat first aid kit, is vitamin B complex. And this is something I like to give shortly after kidding. If I notice any hint of the mama goat slowing down on her feed or not showing much interest in grain or anything like that, I just want to kick any metabolic issues to the curb, and so I just automatically will give vitamin B complex. This is an injection, and you can administer it either IM or sub-Q. It's an easy shot to give. You can just kind of continue to give it every day until your goat either starts feeling better or just starts showing signs that she's got a vigorous appetite and is doing really well with her kids. All right, another item I like to have on hand is a kid bottle. It usually has a little red nipple at the top, and it seems to fall into the bottom of my kidding kit, and I'm running out of daylight, so I'm just gonna let you imagine that it's there. But I keep a few of these on hand. You can also buy the rubber nipples that just fit over a beer bottle or a soda bottle or some other kind of glass bottle, and I've totally used those before too, and those work great. I have a few options on hand just in case we end up with a kid that needs to be bottle fed. Aside from the odd emergency scenario though, we let our dams raise their own kids themselves. So usually I'm not needing a whole bunch of these on hand. I had already briefly mentioned that we also keep molasses on hand, and I add that to warm water for the goats. Sometimes that's nice to top dress their feed with too, to get them really interested, give them an extra burst of energy and some minerals. Molasses is high in minerals. Some other things I like to do for my mama goats right after they kid is make sure that they have a nice stack of alfalfa hay ready for them. I give them a scoop of some organic grain just to give them an extra little boost of energy. Then I like to always have on hand their minerals, clean fresh water, and I like to give them some herbal support after labor too, in the form of some herbal blends that I like from Fir Meadows. I find their GI Soother is really nice to offer the mama goats right after giving birth, and I like to give that by mixing it into some kelp granules, because then they will always eat it because it's like a little piece of candy to them. The last tip that I have, I don't actually have it on hand here, but I do like to sprinkle some golden seal onto the baby's umbilical cords after kidding. This takes the place of dipping them in iodine, which can be a little caustic. I've done iodine in the past too, but these days I like to use golden seal. It's what I do for my own babies when I have them at home as well. And it just works to quickly dry out the umbilical cord right at the navel there, as well as keeping infection at bay. All right, so those are my top tips for kidding and post-kidding help for mamas and babies. I hope these tips are helpful. For a full list of all the supplies I keep in my kidding kit, as well as links for where to find them, go ahead and check out the description. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you found this video helpful. Thanks for stopping by.
All the things that you leave behind, family and a peace of mind that I